Hello everyone, and welcome to Disaster Scope, your trusted source for global disaster reporting. Today, we're focusing on a major natural crisis unfolding across several provinces in China, Sichuan, Yunnan, Guizhou, and others, where deadly mudslides and landslides have struck in recent days. According to official reports, nearly 960,000 people have been affected, with over 500,000 forced to evacuate. The death toll continues to rise. In one of the most tragic incidents, a landslide in Jinping Village, Yibin City, Sichuan Province left at least one person dead and 28 missing. Local governments have activated the highest level of disaster response, rushing rescue teams to affected areas. Meanwhile, in eastern China, cities like Shanghai are bracing for incoming typhoons, with over 280,000 residents evacuated in advance. In the face of disasters like this, we must learn how to protect ourselves and our loved ones. If you believe this kind of content deserves more attention, backhand index pointing right, please subscribe to support our continued reporting. Speech Balloon, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments. We'll be responding and sharing updates as they come. Now let's dive into the heart of this unfolding emergency. Round pushpin from the mountains to the coast. This is Disaster Scope. In late July, torrential rains hammered Sichuan, Yunnan, Guizhou, and Hebei simultaneously. One location experienced over 250 millimeters of rain in just 12 hours, enough to trigger slope failures that had long been brewing beneath destabilized earth. In Yunnan's Laolan village, villagers saw their homes collapse as mud rushed through in seconds. In Guizhou's mountainous communities, entire farming valleys were obliterated. Local media confirmed one died. 28 went missing in Sichuan's Jinping County landslide. As rescue teams worked round the clock, official estimates tallied 960,000 people affected and 500,000 evacuated. The death toll remains uncertain, ranging from dozens to potentially hundreds, as unmatched rainfall and unstable land continue to exacerbate risk. 2 a.m. in Jinping County, residents were startled awake by the sound of deep rumbling. In seconds, a massive landslide tore through their hillside community. Homes disintegrated as mud surged through. Roads vanished. A local emergency headline later read, "Entire village swept into ravine. Rescue forces using drones spotted dozens of collapsed roofs amid the mud sea. Search crews wore headlamps, ankle-deep mud, navigating terrain that continued to quake." In Yunnan's Xinjiang, farmers returned from fields to find their rice paddies buried beneath silt and sludge. Entire families scrambled onto rooftops as steep erosion cut off roads. In Guizhou's Songjiang County, flash floods transformed narrow valleys into raging torrents that sent concrete pillars, shrubs, and livestock floating downstream. Villagers recounted seeing their last standing house collapse before evacuating in makeshift rafts. Hebei's Lumping County, near Qingda, endured rainfall exceeding 145 millimeters per hour, triggering multiple slope failures. In nearby Beijing's Miyun and Yanqing districts, rainfall surpassed 500 millimeters, testing the capacity of reservoirs. The Miyun Reservoir spillway failed to handle inflow volumes, causing downstream flooding across villages. Electricity was cut off for over 130 villages. Search parties waded through waist-deep mud to retrieve lost pets and personal belongings. Across provinces, emergency alert systems were activated. In Beijing, over 80,000 people were relocated ahead of sudden floods. Mobile medical units set up triage stations near evacuation centers. Search and rescue teams, including local militia, Red Cross units, and volunteers, operated around the clock. Resident groups formed human chains to rescue stranded neighbors. In Shanghai region, 280,000 plus people were relocated before Typhoon Koumei made landfall. Authorities shut down ferry crossings and airports, prioritized coastal evacuation, and mobilized drone surveillance for storm surge zones. According to reports from disaster-stricken regions, the risks of mudslides and landslides have been greatly intensified by the following factors. First, steep hillsides with vegetation stripped away have left the soil base loose and unstable. Second, aging drainage systems and outdated infrastructure prevent floodwaters from being effectively diverted. Third, early warning systems lack precision. Many residents received only general heavy rain alerts rather than clear, immediate evacuation notices. Fourth, shifting climate patterns have increased the frequency and intensity of extreme rainfall, especially during the East Asian monsoon season. Together, these factors have turned short-term heavy rains into deadly disasters.
我的，这太厉害了，恐怖太恐怖了！刚才闪了，那边也闪掉了。我的，这都是恐怖的地方。
哪里？
On July 30th to 31st, Typhoon Koumei struck Zhejiang and Shanghai. Shanghai issued an orange warning and evacuated approximately 283,000 residents from vulnerable coastal and low-lying areas. All ferry services were suspended, and up to 30% of flights were canceled as authorities prepared for potential storm surges and flooding. Although the tsunami threat, issued after an 8.8 magnitude earthquake in Russia, was later withdrawn, officials had warned of possible 1-meter waves impacting eastern coastal areas as a precautionary measure.
这么厉害，可以，最强太虎，这太恐怖了，太吓人了！我的天呐，什么概念？哇！我的车呀，我都担心死了，我的头。这类，
这两个是死老定了的，起床他妈不看票，起床他妈不看戏的。
Here are actionable tips for individuals and communities facing similar risks. Know your terrain. If you live near ridges, valleys, or unstable slopes, identify safe high ground ahead of time. Prepare an evacuation kit. Carry essentials like water, medication, flashlight, and documentation in a waterproof bag. Stay alert to location-specific warnings. Not all heavy rain events mean landslides, but slope failure warnings and flood advisories are serious signals. Day after a storm, avoid roads near slipping hills and newly formed landslide scars. Communities should invest in reforesting slopes, strengthening drainage systems, and deploying sensors that detect rising ground movement before it collapses.
这就是我们去救援的道路。是警惕风向了，倒霉了。
想走都走不了。高速都不知道会上。
啥都没了。咱从那上面下来的吧？你试试。应该从这儿上到也能录吧？你试试。我倒没，我倒没。你看那，我上那儿去吧。那不那黑的就我的。完了之后你谁来的吧
？From Yunnan's rural hamlets to Shanghai's megacity skyline, this crisis touches more than infrastructure. It tests our vulnerabilities and readiness in the face of climate extremes. China is emerging from this emergency, but the lessons extend everywhere, balancing development with ecological resilience, modernizing infrastructure, and ensuring early warning systems reach every household. If this story moved you, please consider subscribing, sharing, and spreading awareness. The sooner we recognize patterns of climate risk and resilience, the better we can act. Thank you for watching Disaster Scope. Stay safe, stay prepared.
我刚弄完，
准备开了
哦。
这个开成这个样子，糟了，完蛋了，要死到这儿了。
太黑人了，找车子呢，直接冲这里，刚刚看到。
云南威信县7月8日晚遭大暴雨，暴雨从7月8日晚上21点，一直下到7月9日清晨未停。一夜之间，这座5线小县城，各威信县被洪水席卷。愿大家都平安无事，威信加油！
暂停老街啊，暂停老街。我们暂停的抗洪神器，看一下，不知道顶不顶得住啊？要顶住啊！
这是一个彩不买了吗？你的东西，你看吧，我就说让你看一下。哇，叔叔
据外媒报道，当地时间3月2日，秘鲁中央高速公路97公里处发生岩石滑坡，滚落的巨石砸中行驶中的卡车。幸运的是，巨大的岩石没有造成人员伤亡，只是损坏了这些车辆的后部，避免了更大的悲剧。